Confident people know that they don't need to compare themselves to anyone else. They only compare themselves to who they were yesterday. Stephen Covey. Self-confidence isn't the applause of the crowd, but the gentle agreement between ourselves and the quiet efforts we've made. Comparing with others is like measuring the depth of the ocean by the shadow of clouds that change every day, easily leading us astray. Comparing with our own self from yesterday is like marking footsteps on wet sand. We can clearly see how far we've come, even if the waves blur them a bit. When we turn inward to dialogue with ourselves, we learn to be patient with our shortcomings, cherish every small progress, and understand that each person has their own pace. No longer rushing to chase borrowed standards, we begin to build a measure that fits our own heart. From there, self-confidence sprouts like wild grass after rain. No one needs to sow it, just enough light and time. Not noisy, not boastful, but enduring. We walk lighter because we don't have to carry the burden of comparison. We smile more because we see ourselves moving forward, even if just one step. And looking back, we realize happiness doesn't lie in surpassing anyone, but in being better today than yesterday. A bit more understanding, a bit kinder, a bit more at peace. You have to believe you can do it before you actually can. Michael Jordan. Belief isn't a magic spell that changes reality in an instant. It's like a small flame cupped in the palm, fragile but enough to warm and light the way through long nights of doubt. Before the feet step forward, the mind has already mapped the path. If the mind is filled only with walls of impossible, not enough, then every step forward feels heavy like carrying stones. But when we dare to believe, even just a little, that we have the ability, the world begins to shift in hue. Challenges don't disappear, but they become less frightening. Failure is no longer a period, but a comma for the next attempts. Belief, then, is the anchor that keeps us steady amid storms, a gentle self-reminder. Just go, and the path will appear. Believing in oneself doesn't mean blindness. It's a conscious choice, accepting current limits, but not letting them define the future. Mountain climbers look up at the misty peak. They aren't sure of every step, but believe that each small one brings them closer. And it's that belief that creates the energy, the kind that makes us persistently train, learn, correct, and rise. After every fall, looking back, we realize success doesn't come suddenly. It's built from the days we chose to believe instead of giving up. Reality is merely a mirror reflecting what we nurture within. When belief is full enough, ability will find its way out. And in the moment of "I did it," we understand that the greatest victory happened long ago, the moment we believed we could. We cannot solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. Albert Einstein. When a problem arises, we often react with habit, repeating familiar patterns, the ways of thinking that once gave us a sense of security. But those patterns, though once useful, may now be outdated. It's like trying to open a new door with an old key. The more we turn, the more tired we get, yet the door remains still. Old thinking carries old assumptions, and old assumptions rarely pave the way for new solutions. Therefore, change doesn't start with action, but with how we ask questions. When we dare to step out of the familiar circle, the picture begins to gain more colors. We learn to view the problem from multiple angles, from others' positions, from a broader context, even from past mistakes. New thinking doesn't deny the past, but inherits and enriches it. It's like climbing to a higher floor of the house. What was once tangled below suddenly appears clear and orderly. That distance brings calm, and from calm springs clarity. Changing thinking requires courage, as it forces us to admit that the old way may not be enough. But that moment of humility is the beginning of wisdom. When we allow ourselves to learn again, think differently, and open up to untried possibilities, the problem is no longer a wall blocking the way, but a step leading to a broader view. And then we understand. Solutions don't come from thinking more in the old way, but from daring to think differently, to turn to a new page, lighter, deeper, and full of hope. Life is never lacking in beauty. It's just whether we care to seek it or not. If we know how to see the good things hidden in everyday, ordinary life, we'll find the world always serene. Songmo. Beauty doesn't have to be grand or dazzling. Sometimes it's just a morning, with just enough warm sun, a steaming cup of tea, or a kind glance passing between strangers. People often chase distant goals and forget that happiness is quietly present around them. When the mind is covered in worries, pressures, and comparisons, it's easy to think life is all shades of gray. But in truth, beauty is still there, just obscured by our own haste, like a garden after rain. If we don't bend close enough, we won't see the sparkling dewdrop resting on a wildflower's petal. Knowing how to see the good in everyday life is a form of gentle wisdom. It's when we learn to appreciate a simple meal, familiar laughter, or even those rare moments of silence. Those small things, when gathered with attention, become a lasting source of comfort. They don't transform life instantly, but they soften the heart, making it less unsteady before unavoidable changes. When we change our perspective, the world changes too. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because we've chosen to view it with kinder eyes. And in that gaze, the world appears serene. There are still headwinds, still falling rain, but always sunshine piercing through the clouds. Life has never lacked beauty. We just need to pause, open our hearts, and quietly seek it, and beauty will come to us. Do something new every day, even if it's small, to train your creative mind. Sharma. A very small change, taking a different path, reading a few pages of an unfamiliar book, trying to write a few lines of thought, is enough to pull the mind out of familiar inertia. Everyday life easily traps us in a safe loop. Same hours, same habits, same ways of thinking. That loop brings stability, but also unwittingly stiffens the mind. When we actively introduce something different into the new day, even just changing the morning coffee flavor or listening to a song we've never heard, the brain gets gently stretched. Like muscles needing exercise to stay strong, creative thinking needs small stimuli to remain flexible and fresh. The precious thing is that these new things don't require great effort or perfection. They just need full presence. When we do a small thing with a curious mindset, we open the door to unexpected associations. One thought leads to another. A small experience evokes a new perspective. Gradually, the mind learns to connect, imagine, and adapt the important foundations of creativity in all areas of life. Over time, small changes accumulate into a big transformation. We become more flexible with problems, more open to differences, and more confident in our ability to think differently. Creativity, then, is no longer something we have to force out, but becomes a natural flow in how we live and think. Just a bit of newness each day, and we're quietly nurturing a vibrant mind, a mind that knows how to explore, to enjoy, and is always ready to see the world with eyes as fresh as the first day.